Superstar Japanese pitcher Yoshinobu Yamamoto is one of the most prized international free agents we've seen in some time. After being posted by his NPB team, the Oryx Buffaloes, the 25-year-old is now able to sign with any MLB team this offseason, and he hits free agency with as ridiculous of a resume as you're going to find from a player in his mid-20s. Since making his NPB debut at just 18 years old, Yamamoto has tossed nearly 1,000 innings with an ERA just over 1.7 and a WHIP under 1. He has made 5 All-Star teams, twirled 4 no-hitters, has won 3 Japanese Triple Crowns, 3 Sawamura Awards, which is the NPB's version of the Cy Young, and 2 MVPs. While Nippon Professional Baseball, or the NPB, is easily the second best baseball league in the world, there's always question around whether a player's success can translate into Major League Baseball. Though he is just 5'10", around 175 pounds, Yamamoto has an elite 5-pitch arsenal and creates difficult angles for hitters. I'm going to break down each individual pitch through the lens of advanced data and video to show you why he is worth every bit of the 9-figure contract he is going to get from an MLB team. Let's start with his 4-seam fastball, which he throws around 45% of the time, and it sits at 93 to 95 miles per hour. He can run it up a bit higher than that in the velocity department, but it's the pitch characteristics that make it so difficult for hitters to get to his fastball. When it comes to 4-seamers, or any fastball for that matter, but we're going to focus on 4-seamers here, the goal is to get as far away from the dead zone or an average fastball as possible. That can be through vertical break, extension, your vertical attack angle, your release height, and of course velocity. Most pitchers that have elite fastballs will blend a few of these things to be outliers, or at least far enough from the norm of what most hitters see. That's exactly what Yamamoto does with his fastball. When it comes to 4-seamers with carry at the top of the zone like Yamamoto's, the lower you release it, usually the more it will play up and the more that carry will play up. Yamamoto has one of the lower fastball release points that you will see in Major League Baseball when he comes over out of a starting pitcher. The average release height is around 5.9 feet, where Yamamoto averages around 5.4 to 5.5 feet. Some notable right-handed starting pitchers with 4-seam release heights of 5.5 feet or lower include Luis Castillo, Zach Wheeler, Max Scherzer, Nate Eovaldi, Joe Ryan, Sonny Gray, Pablo Lopez, and Freddie Peralta. Each of these pitchers complement their low release height with other fastball characteristics that help it play up, and each of these guys have a lot of success with their 4-seam fastball. Some get more extension, some just naturally throw it harder and at a higher velocity, some get more induced vertical break, or that perceived ride or carry that so many pitchers want to find. The interesting part is the lower the release point, generally the harder it is to create more induced vertical break, and that's where Yamamoto really stands out. As a shorter guy, he's not going to get the same extension as a Zach Wheeler, but he does get more carry on his fastball than several of the other aforementioned pitchers in the eyes of induced vertical break, which is very important. The other thing that he really excels at is vertical attack angle, which is how flat the ball looks like it is coming out from his hand, and again aids that carry at the top of the zone, or just the ability to miss overbats or freeze hitters at the knees who think that the fastball is probably going to drop below the zone. Another unique aspect of Yamamoto's fastball is that in addition to the carry that it features, he also gets some late arm side run, making it an excellent weapon to freeze left-handed hitters at the front door, where it looks like it might be coming at their hip and then runs right back over the inside part of the plate, or running it in on the hands of right-handed hitters. Opponents hit just 200 against Yamamoto's fastball this past season, with an OPS hardly above 500, which is pretty remarkable when you consider how much he was using that fastball. Working off of the fastball is a gnarly splitter at 89 to 91 miles per hour that will mix in around 30% of the time, averaging around 12 to 13 inches of horizontal movement with plenty of drop at about 1500 RPM. The pitch is very similar in profile to Alex Cobb's splitter, a very successful pitch in the big league ranks. Over the course of Yamamoto's 2023 season, opponents hit around 170 against the pitch with a chase rate of 50% and a swinging strike rate around 24%. The movement may not be quite as diabolical as Kodai Senga's infamous ghost fork, but Yamamoto landed it for a strike 70% of the time this past season, throwing it for a strike pretty much in any count with a ton of confidence. When he wasn't getting whiffs with the splitter, he was able to get a lot of weak contact and ground balls, picking up a ground ball rate of 75% in the 2023 season. The third pitch for Yamamoto is an upper 70s curveball with plenty of depth. With around 15% usage, the tight spinning curve features extremely sharp and late bite at around 2,800 to 2,900 RPM. During the World Baseball Classic, Yamamoto averaged around 18 inches of vertical movement and 14 inches of horizontal movement, just giving that insane two-plane break. But what's remarkable about that is he's also able to still fill up the strike zone despite how much depth and just total movement that pitch has. He landed the curve for a strike around 70% of the time with confidence, throwing it really in any count to lefties and righties and about equal usage to hitters from both sides of the plate. He loves to use it to steal strikes early in counts, and it still also is a weak contact inducer like much of his arsenal, picking up a 60% ground ball rate when hitters are able to make contact. Despite the slower velocity and big shape of the pitch, the sharpness and tight spin of it really makes it still a big chase pitch for hitters who expanded the zone around 34 to 35% of the time against it last season. The fourth pitch for the right-hander is a cutter at 91 to 93 miles per hour that he'll use about 10% of the time. He mostly weaponizes it against right-handed hitters, wearing out the outer half and getting those hitters to kind of look out over the plate, maybe lean over a bit before he runs the fastball in on their hands, as you can see in the sequence showing right now. He will occasionally try to bore it in on left-handed hitters, but with the tendency to leave it over the middle at times or maybe miss a bit to his arm side, some of those backup cutters to lefties can end up being hit pretty hard, and that's why for him, it's more of an early count pitch than a two-strike pitch even to righties as well. Rounding out the arsenal for Yamamoto is a fifth pitch that he rarely mixes in, but I'm hoping he uses it a bit more when he comes stateside. It's a sweeper in the mid-80s that has the potential to be a really nasty weapon against right-handed hitters. He only throws the pitch once or twice per game, but not due to lack of quality. We saw some really good ones in the World Baseball Classic, and the pure shape of it and velocity is very similar to Tanner Bybee of the Guardians and Dre Jameson of the Diamondbacks. Perhaps with some more right-handed heavy lineups in Major League Baseball, we could see Yamamoto mix that pitch in a little bit more. Now the question becomes, how good can Yoshinobu Yamamoto be? Some noise will probably be made about his height and his smaller stature, but his delivery is low effort and easily repeatable. And he's had little issue maintaining velocity deep into starts, where he will throw often 120, 130 pitches. In fact, the last pitch he threw potentially in the NPB was a 95 mile per hour fastball on his 138th pitch of the night in the championship series. Yamamoto has the stuff, command, and mound presence to be one of the better pitchers in Major League Baseball, but his quality of fastball and feel to pitch give him a great chance at landing as a middle rotation arm even if everything does not completely click. At just 25 years old, Yamamoto should command a hefty contract worth around $200 million, and odds are whoever he signs with won't be the only team who offered him that much.